We live in a time where sharing is second nature. A new job, a vacation, a moment of vulnerability, all broadcasted with a swipe and a tap. But what if I told you that every post, every story, every tweet is also a window? A window not just into your life, but into your safety, your patterns, and sometimes your deepest vulnerabilities. There are truths that protect us, our values, our boundaries, our silence. And then there are truths we casually offer up, not knowing they can become liabilities. One photo of your new home, a status about your weekend getaway, a seemingly harmless update about your morning routine. These things don't feel dangerous, they feel normal. But that's where the danger lies, in what becomes invisible, because it feels familiar. In a world where we're constantly watched not just by algorithms, but by people, silence becomes a kind of armor. It's not about hiding. It's about choosing what parts of yourself deserve the spotlight and what parts deserve peace. You don't owe the world your every win, your every move, or your every thought. The Stoics warned about this centuries ago. Epictetus once said, "Know what you can control and what you can't." You can't control how others will use the information you give them, but you can control what you share. You can control how open the window is. Let me ask you something. When was the last time you paused before posting and asked yourself, why am I sharing this? Who is this really for? Not all moments are meant to be public. Some truths are more powerful when kept private. Some stories are stronger when held close. Because in this world of noise and exposure, silence isn't weakness, it's wisdom, it's power. And sometimes, it's the only thing standing between you and becoming a target. We all want to share the good moments. A new car, a housewarming selfie, maybe that long-awaited vacation. It's normal. It feels like connection, like celebration, like you're letting the world in on your progress. But here's the uncomfortable truth. Not everyone watching is applauding. Some are silently comparing, others quietly resenting, and a few are taking notes. You post your new front porch thinking it's just a proud moment, but someone else sees your street, your schedule, your habits. You check into your favorite cafe weekly? That's routine. You show your neighborhood in a story? That's a map. Sharing your success can inadvertently become an invitation not just to admiration, but to exploitation. Let me tell you about Rachel. She just moved into her dream home. Months of saving, planning, and sacrifice finally paid off. She was proud as she should be. She posted a few shots of the house, tagged the area, even did a small tour on Instagram. It felt like a harmless celebration. But within weeks, her home was broken into not once, but twice. And the scary part? There were no signs of forced entry, just knowledge. Knowledge about when she'd be out, about what valuables were where. Her highlight reel had become someone else's blueprint. Now, does that mean we should never share anything? Number. But it does mean we must become more intentional, more aware of who we're really sharing with, and what we might be giving away without realizing it. The Stoics taught us that what is external can never be fully controlled, but what we choose to expose is within our power. Celebrating success isn't the problem. Oversharing it, without boundaries, without thought, that's where the risk begins. So before your next post, ask yourself, is this moment for the world or just for me? Because sometimes the most sacred victories are the ones kept quietly close, free from the noise, safe from the shadows. Let's be honest. Most of what we share online isn't about connection. It's about validation. A post that says, "Look at me," more than "Come sit with me." A highlight reel designed not to invite presence, but to provoke applause. We've all done it. Posted something not because we needed to, but because we wanted someone else to notice. The Stoics warned us long ago about this trap. They spoke of vanity not as a shallow trait, but as a quiet sickness of the soul, a dependency on outside recognition to feel whole inside. Epictetus said, "It's not things that disturb us, but our judgments about things." And nowhere is that more true than on social media. You post a thought. It gets ignored. Suddenly, your mood shifts. Not because your idea lost value, but because the algorithm didn't reward it. But ask yourself, who was that post really for? Was it for your growth or your ego? Was it about meaning or about metrics? These platforms know how to hook us. They turn attention into currency. Every like is a hit of dopamine. Every comment is a breadcrumb for the ego. And before you know it, you're living for others' reactions instead of your own reality. Here's the truth. When your sense of self is built on what others see, it crumbles the moment they stop looking. But there's a way out. And it starts with a simple question. Why am I posting this? Not to guilt yourself, not to shame the need to share, but to pause, to reclaim your intention, to remember that peace is found not in being seen, but in seeing clearly. The Stoics lived in a noisy world too, just without the screens. Their advice? Stop chasing impressions and start mastering presence, because the quietest moments are often the truest. And the truest version of you needs no filter. It's easy to forget just how much we reveal without meaning to. You're on vacation soaking up the sun, sharing that perfect beach shot, maybe a quick video of your cocktail by the pool. Harmless, right? But while you're showing the world where you are, you're also quietly telling them where you're not. Your home is empty. Your routine is broken. Your guard is down. Take Maya's story. She shared daily stories from her trip airport check-ins, beach selfies, cozy dinner photos with captions like, "Finally unplugging." A few days later, while she was still away, her apartment was broken into. No forced entry, no mystery. The thieves didn't have to stalk her in person. They just followed her story. And that's the part we overlook. The danger isn't just what you share, it's when and how you reveal it. In real time, every post becomes a live signal to the world, I'm not home. We live in an age where presence is currency. But privacy is protection. The Stoics weren't thinking about Instagram, obviously. But their principle still applies. Guard your inner life. Not everything needs to be shown. Some moments are for living, not broadcasting. So before you hit post, pause. Ask, would I share this if a stranger was watching? Because they might be. Let's talk about routines, the little things we share without thinking twice. Your morning jog. That favorite cafe you stop by every Friday? The yoga class you always attend at 6 p.m. These aren't just moments, they're patterns. And when you post them regularly, they become a blueprint, a map, a schedule, a digital breadcrumb trail for anyone paying attention. Most of us don't share with bad intentions, we're just proud of our habits. It feels good to show discipline, to celebrate consistency. But here's the truth. What you consider just another post could be an open invitation to someone who's watching for the wrong reason. It's not just about what you post, it's when. Sharing in real time creates vulnerability. You're telling the world not only where you are, but where you will be and when. The Stoics believed in protecting one's inner world, and part of that today means guarding our routines. Not out of fear, but out of wisdom. So here's a simple shift. Share after the fact. Post that run once you're back home. Upload the photo after you've left the cafe. That small delay turns exposure into reflection and protects your peace in the process. Because not every habit needs an audience. Some victories are safer when they're silent. Sometimes, it's not what you own that puts you at risk. It's what you share about it. Take Greg, for example. He was proud of his new high-tech safe, and rightly so. It was state-of-the-art, fingerprint locked, steel reinforced. So, like many of us do, he shared about it in an online forum. Just a casual post, or so he thought. But weeks later, that same safe was stolen with precision. No forced entry, no mess, just gone. See, what Greg didn't realize is that every detail we post, whether it's our routines, our purchases, or our security systems, paints a picture, a mental blueprint of our lives that others can quietly study, piece by piece. We often think of oversharing as an emotional slip-up, but sometimes it's strategic information handed over without knowing. And in a digital world, privacy isn't just a preference, it's protection. The Stoics knew the value of discretion. Epictetus once advised, "Say only what is necessary." Not because silence is weakness, but because silence is strength. Discretion doesn't mean paranoia. It means power, the kind that comes from knowing what to keep sacred. In an age where every part of our life can be broadcast, it's radical to keep anything to yourself. And yet, that may be exactly what keeps you safe. So before you post that next innocent detail, ask yourself, is this sharing or is this surrender? There's power in being open, but there's also risk. Especially when your openness is met by eyes that don't care, or worse, by those who want to control it. Let me tell you about Jordan. After surviving cancer, Jordan did what many people do today. He shared his story online. The treatments, the fears, the fragile return to strength. It was raw, real, human. And the comments poured in support, encouragement, applause. But what he didn't expect was a break-in. Not for money, not for things, but from someone he once knew, someone who had watched his posts closely, someone who didn't want to steal, but to dominate. Because in his moment of rebuilding, Jordan had shown where he was weakest, and someone decided to use it. That's the thing about emotional vulnerability. When offered to the wrong person, it becomes ammunition. The Stoics warned us, protect your inner citadel. Guard your peace. Because not everyone who listens is here to understand. Some are only here to measure where you're soft. That doesn't mean we shut down, but it does mean we get wiser about who we open up to. Share your truth, but share it with those who have earned the right to hear it. The ones who can hold your story with care, not curiosity. With presence, not pity. Privacy isn't secrecy, it's discernment. And in a world that rewards oversharing, choosing silence, choosing selectivity, is one of the boldest acts of self-respect you can make. So, ask yourself, does this person truly deserve access to this part of me? If the answer isn't a strong, yes, let silence be your shield. Sometimes, it's not the big things we share that cost us, it's the little ones. Think about the last time you posted something lighthearted. Maybe a throwback to your first car, a photo of your childhood pet, a shout out to your hometown. Feels harmless, right? But here's the truth most people never realize. Those same fun facts, they're the answers to your security questions. And Melissa learned that the hard way. She wasn't hacked by some elite cyber criminal overseas. Her accounts were breached by someone who'd followed her online for years. Just a casual acquaintance. One breadcrumb at a time, they pieced her digital puzzle together, her pet's name from an Instagram story, her high school from a Facebook post, her birthday from a birthday wish thread. It didn't take skill. It took patience. The Stoics warned us not to guard only our homes, but also our minds, and in this age, that includes your data. So here's some modern Stoic advice. Use fake answers for security questions. Audit your public profiles. And before you post something personal, pause. Ask yourself, do I need to share this, or am I just feeding the algorithm? Because identity theft isn't just about losing money. It's about someone else taking control of your name, your image, your digital self. And when you lose that, it's not just inconvenient, it's disorienting. In a world where oversharing is the norm, discretion becomes a form of quiet power. Protect it. Before you hit post today, pause and ask yourself something simple. Does the world really need to know this? Not everything sacred has to be seen. Not every thought has to echo into the algorithm. And not every truth deserves an audience. We live in a time where silence is almost suspicious, where platforms reward overexposure, and where the line between connection and performance is blurry. But real power? It often moves quietly. See, what you choose not to share, that's where your strength begins to show. Because in a culture that profits from your openness, choosing to protect your peace is a radical act. You don't need to prove your worth through constant updates. You don't owe your inner world to strangers on a scroll. You don't have to explain your wins, your losses, your healing, or your pain, not if it costs your peace. The Stoics didn't speak to be seen. They spoke to stay aligned. And sometimes the wisest thing you can do is hold space within yourself and say nothing at all. Because in the end, privacy is not about hiding. It's about choosing what and who is truly worth sharing your truth with. And that, in a noisy world, is not weakness, it's wisdom.